Christopher, the channel is called Human Stuff and Human. Yeah, Stuff and Humans. And what I've been working on this is basically all the things that we do as humans. That means that includes passions and things we do for passion, for love, but also those things that we have to do that sometimes are our passions, but sometimes not. Most of the times they're not, and they still costing us. They still have a high cost in our lives. We're spending so much time maybe in the wrong things, in the right things. We don't know, but yeah, basically my intent to talking with you today is to talk about your experience in life with your projects. I know because we talked before, because I've been knowing you for a couple of days now, that you all study film in college. That, let me tell you, that's in Mexico maybe one of those careers that are not for everybody, especially because they have a high cost, materialistic, monetary. So we can say it's not too common to study film in my country, but I'm so happy that you did it here because it seems so interesting. I also know that you told me that you like acting, so I wonder if that's somehow related. But okay, enough of introduction. What is it, Christopher, that you want to share us today about your experience in life at your age? You don't have to say your age, though.
Everybody always thinks I'm younger than I am, so we'll let you guess and see if you're right. So yeah, I mean, I grew up in Texas, and I wanted to be an actor, like, from very young, and I was, like, in a lot of theater productions. I had an agent here, doing some, like, film and commercial type of things. And then when it came time for college, my parents were kind of like, oh, don't you want to have, like, a backup plan to be able to make money? And so my backup plan originally was like, oh, maybe I'll go to film school and do, like, the business side of that, because that seems more responsible. And so I came to University of Texas here in Austin, which is a public university, and it's actually one of the, like, top film schools in the country. And because I was a resident, it's, like, a lot more affordable compared to, like, a private film school and that sort of thing. And then I got to film school, and I was like, I actually don't like making films that much. Like, there are parts of it that I like. I like the writing. I like being on set. I like some of the creative development process, but actually, like, doing all the details of the camera and the, like, planning and the logistics, that was not for me. So I ended up doing a lot of acting in my films.
Sorry to interrupt, but how did you notice that it wasn't for you?
I mean, I think I just got, I don't know if bored is the right word, but I felt, like, frustrated, and not in the, like, good frustration. It was like I really don't want to do this part of it.
I see.
But when it came to, like, the writing and also the editing, like, I found those really enriching, because I don't know, I like either coming up with ideas from scratch, or, like, editing, massaging, reconstructing stuff that's already been created, like remixing a little bit. And I think, like, regardless of whether I've been a filmmaker, there are things that I learned in film school that have been so helpful in other settings. And in film school, I, like, got a year in, 2 years in, and I was like, oh, actually, I think I should have another backup plan. And so I added a communications degree, just like in general communications.
That was additional to the film degree.
Yeah, like a second degree. But I was able to do it in the same amount of time and for, like, no extra cost. So I did that, and then a certificate in social entrepreneurship and nonprofits.
Okay.
And my sort of vision was to be able to use, like, creative storytelling and marketing and public relations to help nonprofits, like, advance their cause. And I had a 9-year career in that. So, like, I graduated in 2016, had a 9-year career in several different nonprofits, based in the US, but a lot of them worked around the world. And then this past January, I had gotten to a point where I'd saved up enough money to quit my job and take a year off. Because I had been feeling for a really long time like the pull to be more deeply connected to my creativity and get back to like practicing art.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in that point of your life now where you're taking a year off, but you have to plan it in a way, especially the economic way, right?
Yeah, like I for 2 years I had, in addition to my full-time job, I had a part-time job at a dance studio, and that like helped me save up extra money. I was working on like nights and weekends, and that got me to a point where I could say, okay, I have enough money saved up to where I can, if I live more frugally and cut some expenses, then yeah, I can take the time off and really like invest in myself and my rest, but also like art in general.
Great. What is it for you every day, man? When you wake up and when you go to bed, what is the situation of your current state of your person, of your being, of your being? Like, what would you say about that? You can say about regarding about art, regarding about your basic routines, whatever you want, you feel like saying about that.
Not having the full-time job, I love sleeping in. I love sleeping and I love sleeping in. It's one of my favorite activities.
Right?
So there's a lot of people who will be like, oh yeah, I hustle and I like wake up super early and all of these things. That's not me. I like to sleep in. And
you like the comfort of your bed?
In the comfort of my bed. And I like to have a leisurely morning, and that's like, you know, as a very creative person, I feel like I'm often in kind of this dream world, and especially like waking up from sleep, you're literally coming out of a dream world. So I kind of have to take that time to be like in my body and say, okay, I'm a human. What am I going to do as a human today? And it takes me some time to really like get into my body. I would say like other consistent things are I love walking, and like living in New York, I walk so many different places and take the subway, but I try to like mix up my days and not put too much pressure on myself to like be productive 100% of the time, especially like leaving the full-time job. I wanted to create time to rest.
That can be hard sometimes, right? To allow yourself to rest, to listen your body also, as you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I quit my job and then I realized like 3 or 4 months later, I had created all of these goals for my time off. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many goals, and I'm like trying to work myself even harder than I was before. Like, what would happen if I just kind of let go of some of these and play? And like I told you, that's my word for this year is play. And so I'm trying to let go of some of the rigidity and be a little bit more easygoing, free spirit when it comes to exploring and creativity and just letting myself to create just to create.
Okay. Do you think, have you learned something about that? About giving yourself permission to let yourself go?
Yeah, I mean, the tendency that I have is feeling like, oh, this is too easy, like, or oh, this is not complex enough to be interesting to other people. And so I'll often like make something harder and like more complex because I'm like, oh, this needs to be more interesting and this needs to have this and this and this. And I'm realizing sometimes like the first idea or like the simplest version of the idea.
Ironically, this is my favorite city in Austin.
Hi. So sometimes,
Austin, right?
yeah. So sometimes I have to like check in with myself to say, does it actually really need to be this complicated, or can I make it, you know, how can I make this more fun? How can I bring more play into it? Why am I trying to make this like so hard on myself? And that's been a good learning process, but also enjoyable in the process to be like, the things I'm creating should be enjoyable to create. It shouldn't feel like extra work and like that they're draining me.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Also, you were saying before, Christopher, about you choose a word for a year. You've been doing that, and this year your word was play. You talk to us a little bit about that. Where does that come from? I mean, where did you get that idea, or how was that you got to this decision of taking one word on the year?
Yeah, I started choosing a word for each year maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. And the first year I kind of like had the word and then kind of came back to it at multiple points in the year and reflected on it. But the second year I really like started to pick more like words that felt like they resonated with me more. And I would say like the idea for that came from like New Year's resolutions, and a lot of times we pick New Year's resolutions that don't really stick. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, what if I just pick one word to sort of meditate on effectively, like for the year. So my word a couple years ago was creativity. The year before that, it was embodiment, or like embodied vulnerability. It was like a 2-word year. Okay. And then last year, the word was yield. Yield. Y-I-E-L-D. And that one was a tough year because it meant of like letting go of a lot, and also like stepping back from things and not like having so much control. And then this year I chose play because, one, to contrast last year of being kind of like really like emotionally heavy, and two, I wanted to like literally play with the idea of how can things be fun, and also the word play is like a start to something. It's like, you know, you press play on a movie and it starts, right? You know, something gets going. And so this has been a year of like starting to get back and reconnect with my artistic side. It's been the start of like me reflecting on my relationship with money and like how much money do I need to actually be happy, and can I live off of less? Different things like that. So, yeah.
Very interesting way to reflect on your life, on the things that you're gonna focus, and like you said, instead of maybe focusing in a lot of things like a lot of us usually do on New Year's Eve. It's crazy, right? That in my case, for example, in Mexico, we gotta choose 12 wishes.
Oh my God.
And it's crazy because I remember being a child getting frustrated of not knowing what to choose. So yeah, I guess it makes more sense the way you see it now, like focus on in a smaller portion of that and try to stick to that during the whole year.
Yeah. It's also been interesting because I'll go into it thinking one thing about the word, like I'll pick a word for a reason, but then other things will be revealed to me throughout, because words have so many different meanings and different contexts. So being able to kind of like go in with, you know, an idea of what it may feel like, but also be open to discovering what the word has to teach you that you might not be expecting. Excelente, Christopher. I know you're working on a very special project that you've been dedicating some time, that you're still figuring out how is it gonna look, but you know you have something there. Maybe to close this interview, very lovely interview on this rainy day, what can you tell us about that project in the position that you are now? I mean, because you are a very free, open thinker. So what would you explain that to the audience? Yeah. So I'm working on a project right now. The working title is Disconnected Americano. And after quitting my job and like leaving my laptop I was still using my laptop, but not being on my laptop for so many hours a day. I found that really freeing. But I was still using my smartphone like crazy, and like on social media and all of these other things on my smartphone. And I just saw like so many people around me as well, really like attached to being online and like living our life through the internet. And so my lease was going to be up in September, and I had, an event to get to in California from New York, and I had thought, oh, what if I take the train there? So I was just going to go across the country and take the train, and then I had the idea, oh, what if I actually do it without my smartphone? So I bought a flip phone, and I've been using that.
Oh, really? Can you show it that?
I do, yeah. I think I have it here with me.
Then what happened after that?
And then, look at this. It's my best friend and my worst enemy, like on this trip. But I made it across the country, and at some point, before I took off the trip, I was also like, wait, why should I only do 1 month of this? Like, let me do 3 months. So I'm making like a big loop around the US and doing it without my smartphone. And I'm also having conversations with people and making an audio project about connection and disconnection. And it's like a really broad theme, and it deals with like technology, but it also deals with relationships, like friendships, family relationships, romantic relationships. And I'm really asking the question of like, what does meaningful connection look and feel like in practice? I think, especially in the US, like we're not very good at like being relational or like very community driven, or investing a lot in relationships. And so I really want to understand like, what does it take to have a healthy, like thriving relationship, and whether that's, again, like a romantic partner or a friendship, but also a community, like a neighborhood. And I've gotten to talk to so many different types of people about connection and disconnection that there are so many angles that you can look at it from, but it's really exciting to be able to learn from all of these different people. And I think a lot of people, that I've been talking to are thinking about the same things. They feel either really disconnected and lonely, and are craving that deep connection. Like, it's a very human thing to want to be seen, to want to be validated. One guy told me, like, in the context of technology and AI, that meaningful connection makes him feel like a human. Like, it reminds him, like, I'm a human being on this planet, I'm valuable. And I think that's kind of what we all like crave deep down inside. And so, yeah, I'm having conversations with people like that and doing my own reflections along the way, stopping in like 20, 30 different cities, I think, throughout the whole trip. And then it'll either become, I think, like an audio documentary, like kind of podcast form, or I have an idea for an experimental theater project where I'm going to like weave the stories and the interviews and my own reflections into like a theater piece that's probably interactive, because I love interactive things.
Okay.
And now it's raining so much more.
I know it's raining and we gotta cut it. Not because it's raining, but because we're done.
We're done.
We're done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher.